Let's start with the latest developments in Partygate. And Boris Johnson says that the Commons inquiry into whether he lied to MPs over Partygate had found absolutely no evidence to suggest that he knew the rules were being broken. In an interview, Mr Johnson said, "What is so interesting about the report today is that after 10 months of efforts and sifting through all the innumerable WhatsApps and messages, they have found absolutely no evidence to suggest otherwise." MPs on the cross-party committee say that COVID rule breaches in Downing Street would have been obvious to Boris Johnson, and the inquiry is looking into whether Johnson lied to MPs. The Privileged Committee said that the Commons may have been misled multiple times, and the former Prime Minister will be questioned by the committee later this month. Now, the report landed as Conservative MPs continue to criticise Sue Gray for agreeing to become Sir Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. With me now is political commentator Emma Webb. Emma, thank you for joining me. Emma, the optics, they don't look good, do they?
No, not at all. I actually couldn't quite believe what I was seeing when this news came out. This appointment is frankly so absurd. It's completely mad. I think many people are quite rightly, including Jacob Rees-Mogg, have said that this is grounds for an investigation, because obviously this brings into question the impartiality not just of Sue Gray, but of the civil service as a whole. Because, of course, Sue Gray's son, he's involved with the Labour Party in Northern Ireland. The KC who was involved in the Partygate report and actually encouraged people to join the Labour Party. Jacob Rees-Mogg pointed out that this man had actually provided a link through his Twitter encouraging people to go and join. So the fact that Sue Gray has gone and done this so soon after the Partygate report came out, I think is really very questionable, because how long have these negotiations how long have they been being discussed? How long has this been taking place? We should have an investigation so that we can see what her communications have been with the Labour Party, but also with the Labour Party's office, because this leader's office, because this brings into question the necessary impartiality of the civil service, and it also brings into question her own integrity. I mean, she was supposed to be the head of ethics and propriety. So the fact that she's blocked other people from going on to have certain appointments in the House of Lords or elsewhere. And then she's going to take up this role after having been privy to so much sensitive information that, of course, she can't just, turn a switch in her brain and forget all of that information when she goes to work for Keir Starmer. She has privileged access to information that could help the Labour Party. And it really brings into question the impartiality of the report. So that's not to say that there's been no wrongdoing, as James O'Brien on LBC has tried to undermine critics of Sue Gray by suggesting that the police had issued these fines anyway. But that's completely besides the point. He's missing exactly why this is of such a broader concern, because, of course, many of us have known for a very long time that the Brexit, there have been issues to do with, as this KC was himself a Remainer, there have been issues to do with partiality around Brexit, political partiality. The British public deserve to know what has been going on here. And I think Jacob Rees-Mogg is absolutely right that we should have an investigation into this and a proper inquiry, though maybe not, as he suggested, led by Boris Johnson.
Well, I mean, the irony, as you say it, would be, it'd be slightly more balanced if it was, to be honest. Seeing as, I've heard people saying it feels like a left-wing cabal, a group of people who all have vested interests, all of which seem to be against Boris Johnson in positions of power, that have brought this Partygate to the surface and kept it on the surface and ensured that he is out of office as a result of it. Do you buy into Boris saying that he simply wasn't aware of things? Do you buy into that?
I think that the Partygate, for me personally, I think what it suggests is that the government didn't really think that coronavirus was as serious as they frightened the public into believing. And for me, that is the main concern. I know that there are lots of people who are also angry about the hypocrisy. My own grandmother spent the last years of her life locked in a care home while they were having tea and biscuits and whatnot. So, look, I understand that people are very angry about this, but on the other hand, there are even people on the left. There are people like Aaron Bastiani, who was on GBNews, himself saying that this appointment looks really awful because it does bring into question the impartiality of the civil service. It seems to be a breach of the civil service's own code. So, I think that we have to take a step back from all of the heat around the lockdown debate, around Partygate, and we need to take a serious look at how these civil servants are behaving. And it's so surprising from Sue Gray, of course, because she's known for having so much integrity. It seems strange that she wouldn't realise that this appointment is going to bring the civil service into disrepute. So I think this needs to be a non-partisan issue. We need to take a step back from the party politics here and recognise that this is fundamentally to do with the trust of the British public and the trust that they can have that civil servants are impartial in the way that they must be, because it's absolutely necessary constitutionally for the functioning of this country that civil servants are not partisan, and this brings all of that into question.
And it's done in plain sight as well. Interesting that they thought that would be a good look. Emma, thank you very much. That's Emma Webb. She's a political commentator.